as a native North Texan, we're not usually prepared for those really cold, freezing winters like we've had the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough. So today we're here to tell you how to prepare, what to do, and make sure that your house doesn't fall apart.
Or flood, like many of us had happen in 2021.
Let's get started. I'm Andy Haven.
And I'm Holly Haven, and we are your North Texas No Filter Real Estate team. And we don't just want you to move to Texas, we want you to become a Texan. And that starts with, how do we winterize our homes? Do we winterize our homes? What should we do to prepare for those kind of sudden cold snaps we get usually towards the end of winter?
Tip number 1, remove your water hoses. This is something a lot of people don't think about, but if there's water still in your water hose and it does freeze, it can actually back up all the way through your pipes. So go ahead and remove those water hoses so that you don't have that happen.
Tip number 2, once you have removed those water hoses, you want to actually cover the outside faucet. You will notice at the grocery store, even Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's, you can grab the styrofoam covers. They just hook onto the faucet. You can also buy some similar ones on Amazon, but these are really important. If you got surprised by the cold snap and you can't find it, go outside, wrap some towels around that spigot, and just kind of tape them on. Just give it a little bit of insulation.
Tip number 3, repair or replace your weather stripping. This is something that's very important. If you don't have weather stripping on your doors and windows, this can allow cold air to get in your home. It honestly just goes against the fact that you're paying for heat in your home. So this is something that will save you a little bit of money as well. Go ahead and check that weather stripping around all windows and doors, and go to Lowe's for a replacement if needed.
Tip number 4, drip your interior faucets. So any faucet in the house, especially if it backs up to an exterior wall, just turn that water on a little bit, just enough to keep the pipes flowing so that any water sitting in the pipe doesn't freeze and expand and then create some serious flooding issues inside the home.
Tip number 5, open any cabinet doors that have a faucet underneath. This will allow for the warm air in your home to warm up the faucets and allow them not to freeze, something you don't want to happen.
Tip number 6 is kind of a home maintenance tip in general, but also something that helps during the freezing temperatures. Make sure that around windows and doors, anything especially near an opening is nicely caulked so that that air does not seep into the property or into the home and cool things down. And also have your insulation checked. If you bought an older home, you may need to add some insulation to the attic. This is a pretty simple process to have someone come and do for you, but it definitely can make all the difference in those freezing winter months.
And going off of that, if you're someone who has a pier and beam home, this is also something that you need to just kind of check in general. Make sure that all of your openings are closed off. Make sure that cold air isn't able to just fly through under the home. That can freeze your pipes as well. Tip number 7. This seems like an easy one, but you never know. Make sure that you're keeping your heat on at least 65 degrees or above to make sure that your interior temperatures stay warm enough so that your home doesn't freeze.
And this was really the big impact that hit many North Texans in that freeze of February 2021, was that we had some energy grid issues and we were not able to keep heat running in a lot of homes. So having some additional heat sources can be really helpful. Maybe having a generator installed. There's definitely some higher end things that you can do to help prevent this, but this is not something that we have experienced normally in North Texas, but it is something that we experienced recently, and so now we're all a little more aware. Yeah. If you have a water well, you may want to invest in an insulated blanket. Basically what you do is you lay that blanket underneath the lid, and it allows to help insulate the entire well to hopefully keep those temperatures from reaching freezing and creating issues.
Tip number 9, another general maintenance tip, but this is something that's very, very highly encouraged right before a ice or snowstorm. Go ahead and trim your trees. This is something that whenever the ice freezes onto your trees, it breaks off limbs. It can cause trees to fall on your houses, your cars. This is just a general thing that you should just make sure that you're trimming those trees.
Yep, that's probably one of the bigger issues we run into in winter months that we have seen consistently through the years. So that's a pretty easy fix to keep that damage off the roof.
Well, and it's not very common to have actual snow in Texas. It's more ice. Yeah. Or freezing rain, they like to call it. So it'll literally just freeze to your tree. It gets really heavy and then they all just break and die.
So making sure those are trimmed back from the roof, off of the driveway, so that you just have some clearance will definitely be helpful.
Cars in the garage.
Tip number 10, cover your plants and tree bases. You might see people just use sheets, moving blankets, But you can go buy actual tarps and covers intended to insulate the base of specific plants. So if you have a lot of landscape, it can be very, very expensive to replace if it gets caught in a freeze. So taking that few minutes just to wrap the base of those to insulate them and help keeping them alive through that 1 or 2 days of freezing weather can definitely save you thousands in the long run.
I hope you liked our 10 tips on how to winterize in Texas weather. If you have any questions or know any other tips on how to winterize in Texas, go ahead and leave those below. If you liked the video, go ahead and subscribe. We do videos like this all the time. You can also scroll back and see all of our past tips for homeowners in Texas.
All right, guys, like, subscribe, leave us comments, follow us. We want to be your local resource here in North Texas for all things real estate related. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.